Alright, this is a monkey wrench, I guess. They came out of an old garage, just buried underneath a workbench. Don't have any idea of the make or the model yet. I'm gonna redo the handle. If you've seen my other videos, I've done a couple old screwdrivers that came out pretty good. These were, I didn't make videos of the small one, but anyway, it was completely decomposed. It looked like that. This one was a different story. It had been redone, but anyway, it just wasn't right, so I redid it. I think I can do better on this one too. So I understand that most people don't have a sandblasting cabinet or media blaster. I do, but I'm tempted to try to go with just wire brush and see how good I can do with that, just so that anybody doing this at home who's trying to learn how to do this or get a better understanding how long it takes can understand what can be done with just a wire brush. But if it's not coming out really nice, I'm going to break down and throw it in the sandblaster, and because I want to do it right, and that's why I buy these tools, so I can use them. So we'll see how I edit this video out, and I'm just going to play it by ear. But anyway, there doesn't seem to be any catastrophic pitting or galling or anything along the threads. I have redone worse stuff, so anyway, I'm looking forward to restoring this wrench, and I'm really enjoying the YouTube stuff. So what I'm going to try to do is sort of develop a consistent format for the way I go about doing things. And I would appreciate it if you guys would comment, positive, negative. I mean, as long as it's constructive, I'm all for it. Please, if you like the video, like it. If you didn't like it, comment, tell me why. I'm trying to improve this stuff, and anyway, I appreciate the input. So with that, I'm going to get to work and enjoy. Alright, so that's just a minute or two of wire wheeling. I think I am going to sandblast this. There's really no good way to get in behind here. Interestingly, from what I've read on the internet, if you look at the profile here, this is slightly offset higher than this one, because this was a hammer. I guess they traveled light back then, so instead of keeping a hammer with them, this would just double down and become a hammer. We'll have to see how the parallelism is between the jaws when I get this freed up. I think sandblasting will help reveal how this is fastened in there a little bit. Actually, you know what? That probably won't tell us anything. Probably just have to break this handle off and reevaluate. One of my goals with my YouTube videos is to actually get what I'm working on in the damn shot. I have a couple restorations where I've gone about my business a little to no regard as to what I'm recording. So, anyway, needless to say, I haven't posted any of those pictures. This is interesting. There's some sort of a relief in this section, in this interior part here. That, at first glance, will be problematic when I'm going to fit the handle, because there's, as you can see, there's sort of a relief in there, it'll become obvious that I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to fitting the wood stuff, so the wood handle. So I just sort of buy a lot of wood and keep taking stabs at it till it works. That's all I can do right now. So, anyway, like I was saying before, and like I've mentioned in other videos, a wire wheel is about all you really need to get to do a pretty good job with these things. If I was going to quit here and just wire wheel it, I'd just keep plugging along with the wire wheel, go over to the bench grinder with the wire wheel on it, and keep going, and maybe soak this in some of the rust converter, which I'm pretty big fan of. And I use the Crudex. I haven't used the Vapo Rust yet. I don't have a big shop, and I don't need another 5-gallon bucket laying on the ground. So anyway, I use a little spray bottle of these half-gallon spray containers. This one just happens to have that diluted floor cleaner in it for wiping the workbench down. But I have another one with the green Crudex rust converter. And anyway, instead of wasting my time with the wire wheel, I'm gonna bring you over to the sandblaster, and we're gonna give this a good once over, and then I'll bring you back when I'm done with that. Alright, the sandblaster in South Florida anyway is a great tool, but the reason I mentioned South Florida is the high humidity. I use the coal slag in there, and even though it's not like sawdust or something that would clump up and become really watery like sand would, but you know, the moisture does get to it, and in the little section that I put in before we got to this point, you see me back feeding the gun where I put a drift into the end of the nozzle. That just reverses the airflow. It blows back into the what's called the reclaimer, and it helps free up any of the chunks that are in there. And the more you use the sandblaster, the better it gets over time. But anyway, at first sometimes it'll fight you. But anyway, back to the wrench. What I'm thinking is happening here, now that I can really see what's going on, is that I'm assuming that this is a gusset of some sort that is used to hold the handle, the end onto the handle, and my terminology is probably wrong, but I think this might be swagged in or whatever. This would be akin to the kind of tang that you shove in the side of a Morse taper to pop it loose. That beveled tool. So, if I had to take a wild guess, if you see the impact marks on here, and then the file marks on here, I would, to me, it makes sense that this pin would drive out the other direction. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little heat just on the outside of here to help expand whatever purchase this has on here, and sort of move my way through the hammers, and then hopefully, if I can't get it with a drift and in one of these 3 hammers, then we'll have to come back and reassess. So I'm going to try to get a shot of that, and we'll see how successful we are. I put just a little bit of heat on it so I can still touch the thing, and shit, it's hot. And tried pushing this back, and it is on there pretty good. Perhaps I was wrong and it feeds out the other direction, and then this is swelled up. You know, let me just keep messing around with it, and I'll bring it back when I get it figured out, and I'll explain what's going on, so you don't have to sit here and listen to me think. Alright, so with like any stuck bolt or whatever, you're going to want to relieve the pressure on the sides, and the best way to do that I know of is to drill a hole in it. So now that I've drilled a hole, I'm going to try to collapse this pin in on itself and drive it out. I don't have to remanufacture that pin or whatever. So anyway, going to keep plugging away till I get this out of here. Alright, I either made forward progress or I screwed up really bad and I haven't even realized it yet. But anyway, I've got what I think was retaining the handle in. I've got that undone here. Now, how do I get the rest of the handle out? That is a good question. So I'm going to go back to figuring on how to get that out of there. And I will try to get you as many shots of the pertinent information as I can. So, alright, it is very hard to see that tang comes all the way through. There you go. So there it is. That comes all the way through. That gives me another option, so I'm going to maybe just tap on that with a brass hammer, maybe put a little heat on it and see what happens. Alright, this really isn't going my way. What am I doing here? I had the breaker bar up underneath the bench, trying to separate it. And this is a long breaker bar, pry bar or whatever. And then I could tap on the back, so I'm leaning on it with this 24, 36 inch brawler, heating it up, and then tapping on the back end of it with a brass hammer, shocking it, trying to get it loose, and it's still not budging. I am not really sure where I go from here. It's sort of hot, so I'm going to have to let it cool down before I come back and look at it. Maybe this is one of those things that I leave it sit for a day and come back tomorrow and take a look at it. I'm not sure that getting it apart totally is an absolute must. I'd like to, just to be able to stone the edges of the anyway, just clean the whole thing up. So anyway, I don't know, I'm going to come back to it later.